everybody. I'm Tom Vessel.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Mike DeLisio.
Today we're taking a look at a game that was very anticipated for at least me, Redwood, and I also think it has a gorgeous cover here about taking pictures of animals.
This is one that was a Kickstarter that I was actually excited about. I think it overall looks really gorgeous.
And that's going to lead into me being able to say something that's pertinent to the whole review, which is that I agree it's a beautiful cover, but what you're seeing there with Tom and Chris is the retail version of the game, and I backed it on Kickstarter for the big deluxe collector's edition, and so I have only played with the collector's edition, and we'll try to make comparisons where it's pertinent when we talk about it in the review.
I want to be clear that I'm glad I did not get the giant edition because it's humongous, but it's like a redwood tree, one might say. Anyhow, let's show you how to play the game. We'll be right back. In this game, players are trying to collect points. You're going to get points from many different things, from taking pictures of flowers, taking pictures of animals, taking pictures of a tree, taking a picture of the sun once but not too many times, or having the sun in your background, and by building panoramas in front of you that connect. So you can see these two connect here, see the blue and brown lines, and that will score you extra points at the end of the game. There's also going to be objective cards that are placed around the table, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these will tell you different things that will score you points. On a player's turn, they have a character here on the board. They'll be in a start spot. You're going to pick one of these movement templates. They're going to all be laying on the table. If you pick one that's in front of somebody else, they get a point. You can't use the same template twice in a row. You're also going to pick a picture template. Same rules apply to that. So first, let's talk about moving. Let's say I pick this one here. Well, I can't move through animals or other players. But you'll take this little wrench-like object and snap it onto your character, rotate it to where you want to go, put your other character on there, and then just remove them. There's your character. Now they can take a picture. A picture would be done the same way. You take your template that you picked to take the picture, you snap it onto the base here, like this, and you rotate it, trying to get in your view animals, trees, and flowers. Once you're done taking the picture, you're going to see where this line is pointing, and the game gives you a shoelace, in case you can't figure out where that is. That's the panorama that you're going to be putting things on. There's holes in your camera thing here, and if that is on top of an animal, then that is a perfect shot. Or if it's on top of something, you're trying to get these perfect shots of different things out there. You're then going to take the picture, and you're going to put tokens on top of these things, and you'll lose points for each of these that you don't cover at the end of the game to block them. In this one, for example, we want to get a tree in that spot if possible. And there's your picture. Like I said, as you add other backgrounds, you put them next to it. They don't have to match, but you will get bonuses if they do match at the end of the game. There's actually quite a few different ways to get points. I'll show you the score sheet here. You're going to play 5 rounds. Like I said, each round comparing to all the objective cards. You'll lose points from things missing, for having flowers. Everything scores points in different ways. There's a few other rules, like whenever you do take a picture of an animal, they move. They'll come out of that hole, and they'll move to another empty hole as long as it's in their preferred terrain as shown here. Also, when you take pictures, you can't have pictures of other people in your camera shot, just like you can't move through other people. So they might mess up where exactly you want to go. That's it. Most points, winner. Okay, I think nobody is really who plays this game is going to argue about the theming of the game. It is, you're moving around, you're taking pictures of animals, you take the animals and the flowers and whatever they are and whatnot and put them on a background, and it looks like a little picture that you've taken. You're probably too close to the bear, but whatever. They're cool little pictures, and they can even form sometimes a panorama that looks neat in front of you. The moving and the wide angle and the lens stuff, I think the theme is really strong, and I think it's a very positive thing.
Yes, I agree. I think it's a lovely theme. I think, it could have even been a bit of a darker theme, because essentially you would be doing the same thing if you were hunting, except instead of shooting with a camera, you'd be shooting with a weapon. And I'm really glad they went this direction, because I think it would be much less widely appealing to people if they went that route. The theme works very well for this, and yeah, it just looks lovely on the table.
I will say, though, those spreads, I don't think shotguns work that way. So those wide-angle lenses definitely work better as cameras.
I got to say, it's the first time I've used templates like this that were not in a war game or something. But not even that. I think the components for the game are very nice. The templates, the little things from them putting felt on the bottom of the people to keep them from moving on the board. We're going to talk a little bit about the estimation of the templates, but they did everything they could to minimize that. And, everything comes together, I think, in a very well production. And that's me not talking about the monstrosity that Mike has.
I don't know that I'd call it a monstrosity, Tom. It takes up most of a Calyx cube, which seems to be the universal size that we use as board gamers. But it is very big. Now, from what I can tell, because I have not played the retail edition, the biggest difference is not going to be in the actual board itself, because that seems to be pretty similar, if not exactly the same. The biggest difference I can see is that the templates, I believe, in the retail lay on the table, on those little kind of boards. In this version, they stand up, and so you take them from kind of like a standing up thing, and you put them back on there. The pieces for the animals and for the flora is going to be wooden instead of cardboard. I'm sure there are other things, and of course there's additional modules and such, but the essential game is the same. The components might be of a different material.
You have a whole stand-up display like he's displaying swords or something. I'm glad we have this box that is this thick, because I think that this fits, for me, what I think of the game more. This is kind of a breezy, enjoyable, rather quick game that if there was more to it, that would actually, for me, be a negative. Kind of the Foundations of Rome type of thing, where a gigantic box is, for a kind of lightweight game, is going to make me less inclined to pull it out. But I know that's speaking to my taste.
No, I think that's actually a really good point, Chris. I do think that's pertinent here, because it is a light game, and I'll even go harder. I think it's very short. The game, I think, is over really quickly, and some people may even find a negative in the sense that it can take almost as long to set up the game, at least with the version I have, as it does to play it. You almost want to play multiple sessions of the game, I think, with this. And the extras that are added that take up most of the space in that big box are really not going to change the complexity of the game much. It adds some variety, it gives you a little different things to work with, and it can up the complexity a bit, but it's never making this a heavy game or even a medium weight game.
Yeah, so, Chris mentioned he's glad we have the smaller box here. This game is about taking pictures, and like I said, I think the theme is strong. And you are picking a movement, then you pick a picture template, and those are pretty much your options. Once you have the picture, then you're spinning it around, maybe rotating it to look, and that's the game. Now, that's not a bad thing per se. There's kids' games I played that do the same thing, or even River Dragons, where there's these games where you're trying to measure a template, like, will this fit in here, or will this go here? Will I be able to use, you're combining two templates together to be able to get animals. And that's interesting. But for me, it's not interesting enough to hold the length of the game, 30, 40 minutes that the game goes. I play it, I'm like, oh, it was interesting, that was interesting. Oh, I keep doing the same thing. I keep just grabbing more templates and doing it. And I can get that a lot of people like that, but for me, after having played this, I go, I've seen everything I want to see about this game. It was an interesting experience, but I don't know that I want to keep going back.
See, that's a funny takeaway, because I find that the game is very smooth, very relaxing. There's not too many rules. This, to me, kind of feels like a playground where you get to just kind of adventure around, and you can take the pictures how you want to. Do you want to do them in a specific order? You can follow those rules to get those adjacency bonuses. Are there a bunch of bears and deer and elk all in one area? I'll go over there. It's just kind of a playground.
Sure.
Do what you want, and the game does have a few rules where as the picture of an animal gets taken, the animal gets scared off to another habitat of its type, and so that it opens up something for you. I find that this also scales well, because in the 4-player game, it recommends that you play as teams. And when I saw that, I thought, oh, I got to learn a variant the first time I'm going to play it. But it's very, very simple rules. You and the person opposite you are a team, and you just go at the same time. You can't run past each other. Your templates can't hit. And so that opens up the game a little bit more as well. I think that that's actually, it almost makes a single turn actually more interesting. It also makes the game way quicker with 4 people.
Yeah, I think that while I don't disagree with Tom's general, pardon me, his general conceit here is that you're kind of not doing a whole lot on your turn. I don't know if this is an actual phrase, but I'm going to try using it. It's a game about spatial reasoning, right? Where you're trying to use these templates, like he said. I do think, though, like Chris mentioned, there's more going on in the game. It's never going to be anything beyond really a game of kind of moving around, trying to get certain things lined up. But there are a little bit of things that change. The scoring tiles, you can have different scoring tiles around the outside that may change things a bit, depending upon the type of landscape card that happens to be face up in each location. That can be a bit of a decision point, where it's like, oh man, it only has spot for me to put one thing on that card. So there are little things going on, but it is a relatively simple game, and I think it would help knowing that go in, especially if you see the big box. If you see the retail box, I don't think it's promising anything that it's not necessarily delivering. It may look a little bit more complicated on the back than it really is, but I think what you see is what you get.
And I don't disagree on that. My rating for the game is a 6. I don't think it's bad. I think a lot of people are going to like it, and I think the game's also exactly what it says it is. So all that's fine. A couple things I want to point out. One, there's one rule I think is insane, which is that if you take the templates in front of someone else, that's a bonus for them. As if I'm ever going to pick, I'm going to pick the wide-angle lens. I sure hope no one. I'm picking that because I hope everyone else picks that. I have never once in this game picked a template based on that. So why is that then a rule? It's just an extra rule that doesn't mean anything, and it also has the added effect of making templates sit around the table. And it also doesn't make sense thematically. But I do think a lot of people like this. I do want to mention also, though, some people, and our good friend who's not in the reviews, Lee Garcia, did not want to play this game because he doesn't like the imprecision of templates. And that's here. It just is. You're going to, if you're playing with a congenial group, then you're not going to have a problem. But you might have someone go, I don't know if that template covers the bear completely. And you're like, it definitely does. It does not. Well, if I move it over here, but then it's not covering this 100%. I have played with congenial groups, so I'm fine. But I can see that being an issue. And if you don't like the templates in precision, you're going to dislike this game because that's what the game is. For me, I found it to be interesting, but not enough that I want to keep coming back to it.
That's funny because I think that of the games that use some, the templates and stuff and allow for this kind of, they always allow for some level of imprecision. I think this one's actually pretty on. You know what I mean? You can usually see. I don't think there's ever been disagreement like that's not covering the bear all the way, or that's not in the focal point of the camera lens.
Well, the focal point is good. That one is on point. But I still think that can be in there. And again, that is the entirety of the game, is what I'm saying.
It is.
If you don't like that, You're not going to like the game. If you like it, hooray.
Yeah. I don't remember if I said my score yet. I'm giving this one an 8 because I have a lot of fun with this. I really enjoy that you have to make both decisions right off the bat. You have to grab your template and your lens. And so you're just kind of hoping. And if you can use that spatial reasoning pretty well, you can do so well in this game. And it still has movement. The animals move around, so it's opportunistic. I love those little extra scoring opportunities that reveal over the course of the round. Like, you want to try to move and land your miniature on a hole, like one of those holes where the animals go. And if you do, you get extra points. And we were joking about rolling our ankles out in the wilderness near the bears is a great idea because I get 2 points. But it just is that kind of fun, light, unique, super unique. I could see, even if I don't want to pull this out often because the game is guess 2 templates, move and take a picture, it's so different from anything else that I've played in a long time. So it gets points for being unique, it gets points for being fast, fun. It's an 8 for me.
Before I give my final thoughts, I do want to mention something I meant to bring up at the very beginning when we were talking about components. There has been a known issue with the components in the first printing of the game, I think both with the retail edition and with the collector's edition, and that is that some of the animals, they have little pegs on them that go into holes that are on the board. We've kind of alluded to that a little bit. And the size was just maybe like fractions of a millimeter off. And so I know Chris actually experienced an issue where in his edition of the game, it was pulling off those pegs because it wasn't an exact fit. As I said, it is a known issue, and I do believe that the publisher, Sit Down Games, has been sending out replacements. I know that when I picked up my copy at Essen, they already had the replacements there. So I never had the issue because I already had the upgraded, repaired components. But I do want to point that out because I know there are people that are going to run into that issue, and just know that there has been a fix for that. Okay, that being said, I'm giving it an 8 like Chris. I do concede to Tom that it's a game that doesn't have a huge amount of variation from one game to the next. You're going to be moving, you're going to be taking pictures, you're going to be putting them on cards. That's the core conceit of the game. And I also agree with Tom that there are going to be some people that are going to be turned off from it simply because there are templates involved. I thought I was going to be one of those people. When I first saw this project, I was super excited because of the theme and the look. And then when I saw the templates, I was really repellent to it right off the bat because I've never played a game with templates that I enjoyed before. This is the first one. Now, that being said, I haven't played a lot of them. And there, you have to concede that there are going to be players who do want to rules lawyer it and go, oh, I don't know if that's completely. Again, I don't think that's going to happen much, and especially if you're playing, with kind of people that you're, kind of friendly with. But it is an issue for some people, I imagine. I didn't find that an issue. I really think that this fulfills a unique niche in my collection, and that's really important to me, and that's why, and I'm giving that some weight towards that 8 rating, is that I don't have any other game like this in my collection. I doubt I will have another because I think that this does templates in a way that works for me. And so fast, I think it has wide appeal. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this just by seeing it on the table. Really solid game for me, an 8.
There you go, folks. That is Redwood. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
Take a picture. It'll last longer.